college football has targeting. The NFL does not. If I have targeting in the NFL, what would be the downside to that?
I don't think there is a downside unless you adopt the college rule as it is, because the college rule as it is too ambiguous. There's no area between targeting and unnecessary roughness. So if there's any contact to the head or neck area, really, even if it's not egregious, it gets called targeting and it stays targeting and the kid is out. I am a bit mystified as I think back at it that college really protects their players more than the NFL does just from this targeting rule. And I have said recently, and especially after Thursday night, I do think that it's getting to the point where penalty yards and money is not deterring the act.
Yep.
And so if you could give me a targeting rule in the NFL that makes it a type 1 target, so it's the Brandon Marshall hit, it's the other hit that they had, those two vicious helmet-to-helmet hits, if you could make them reviewable in replay and let them confirm that it in fact is a type 1 flagrant hit, then I think you not only eject the player, but if, like Stewart's hit at the end of the game, you do like college. He's out for the first half of the next game.
Yeah.
You got to do something to put some teeth in it. And I think when you're talking a 46-man roster, and you take a player away of a 46-man roster, I mean, colleges might have 80 to 100. But in the NFL, that's a big deterrent to me. And if you're going to take a guy out of the game, so I agree totally with you that they need to get this aspect of the rule changed to where you can take the egregious act and get them off the field.
Mike, if I'm a defensive player, I have no problem hitting you in the head and getting 15 yards, even a $23,000 fine. That's not a big deal.
Right.
But if you take me off the field, now I've hurt my team. A game check, now all of a sudden that resonates. And you can also have these guys go back to, this is how you have to tackle. There's no deterrent for me to go after Cam Newton.
And you're not just trying to attack the player here, and the league hasn't been, doing that. They want to attack the coaches here and make sure it's being coached the right way, and make sure that coaches are telling them not to lead with their helmet and not to go head hunting like that. Hey, listen, maybe it affects the 15 yards affects the coaches more, but to me, it just hasn't shown as enough of a deterrent to keep it from doing it. I mean, they're trying to get the defenders to lower the target area. And I know it's tough, but to me, in both of these situations with Marshall and Stewart, I think it is, they could have gone lower. Yeah. They could have wrapped and tackled, and they tried to punish and instead of trying to make the play. And I think that the league needs to react to that.
What about trying to get rid of or eliminate or water down the kickoff? What is this backfiring on the league?
Well, I think it's too hard to tell. I mean, it's obvious that they want less returns, which is a complete turnaround from 6 or 7 years ago when they wanted more returns, when they were concerned about the number of touchbacks. So, and we know that you have the type of contact in kickoff situations where two guys are running directly at each other, and the concussion rate, per number of kickoffs is high there. But you can't get rid of it. I mean, no. Are you going to get rid of the kickoff? You can't give up on the element of an onside kick, because if you do, a team that's down 3 scores in the fourth quarter is done. And I don't think you can say, well, if you want to onside kick, we'll give you the opportunity. You can elect to do so. Then that takes away the surprise onside kick, and we've seen those in Super Bowls that have worked. Yeah. So I think that they've got to keep trying to search for ways to reduce the number of injuries. And like, in my opinion, for example, why is it not so much an emphasis on punts? It's kickoffs. Well, why? Because basically the receiving team lines up on the line of scrimmage, very close to the line of scrimmage, and they don't retreat until after the ball is kicked. So make the receiving team put 9 guys in a box up by where the ball is kicked. And so then, kicking teams running down, receiving teams, retreating. That's why there aren't as many injuries on the punt game. So try that. Try that. My gosh, you'll even get greater returns with everybody up there, further returns. So the league, which likes offense anyways, would be happy about that aspect.
The book got some publicity because of your run-in with Roger Goodell before he was the commissioner. Now, did you Were you concerned about putting that in with the commissioner?
Yes, I was.
Have you heard from the commissioner?
But I wasn't hearing from him before, so there's no reason for me to hear about him. Somebody wrote me sent me an email that said, don't expect a Christmas card from it. Well, I haven't got one in 10 years, so I'm not overly concerned about that. It was an example of two real stubborn guys. I mean, it was the incident with Bottlegate in Cleveland where Terry McAulay took the teams off the field with 43 seconds to go and said game over because they were getting belted by bottles, some half full, some I think totally full. Probably any human would do that, take the team off the field and say we're getting beat up by bottles, the game's over. He doesn't have the authority to do that. We had to bring the teams back on the field for 2 kneel-down plays, which was really kind of nonsensical to me. But nevertheless, we did. And, what do I do with McCauley, who ended the game when he wasn't supposed to? I did everything I thought I should do, which was to give him the downgrade for doing that. Wrote him a letter. But Roger wanted him suspended, and I wasn't going to suspend him. I mean, I'm not going to suspend a guy for leaving the field when he's getting hit by beer bottles. I mean, I'm not going to do it. And so, I was stubborn in my defense of McCauley. He was stubborn in his defense of the Cleveland Browns, and I know he was getting a lot of crap from the Cleveland Browns. And so he's defending his side. I'm defending my side. It wasn't the first argument that we had, and I think he got so frustrated that he gave me the shove to try to get me back into my office. It wasn't assault by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a shove that
Can you
that
reenact
startled
that?
him. Huh?
If I have Paulie step up to play the role of Goodell,
Listen, I can't.
Can you reenact it?
No, because I was bruised for 6 years after that.
You get to knock Paulie.
Oh, I do?
Yes.
Oh.
Can you reenact it for us, Mike?
Oh, yeah,
All right,
come on.
Stand up.
Okay.
All right. You
Okay.
can take the headphones off.
I got it.
All right, we're going to see how violent this was. So, Paulie's playing the role of Mike Pereira, and they're going toe-to-toe here, and Pereira is... Whoa.
Throw the flag.
Wow. That's assault. Paulie, you going to be able to continue the show?
I want a flag thrown. That's targeting.
Paulie, I held my ground more than you just did, though. Come on, that wasn't that hard of a shove.
Could you have taken Goodell?
Could I have taken him?
Yeah.
Well, if I wanted it to be my last day in the job, then maybe I would have tried. No, he's strong and he likes to get his way. So I think he'd have probably pummeled me. He'd have pummeled me at the end of the argument, or while I was on the floor laying face down like Cam Newton was on Thursday night.
All right, can you stay?
Of course.
All right, we'll come back. We'll continue with Mike. And if you do have a question for Mike, you have the opportunity if you'd like to call us. All right. And we're going to act out an end zone celebration. And I want to know if you would flag the certain end zone celebrations that we have, all right?
Good.
So we're going to do that. If you're watching on DirecTV, the Audience Network, or NBC Sports Network, Seton will reenact some touchdown celebrations. You're ready for this, aren't you, Seton?
100%.
All
Born ready.
All right, 877-3DP show. If you have a question for Mike Pereira, we're back. His book is Upon Further Review. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we return on the Dan Patrick Show. Mike Pereira from Fox, their NFL rules analyst. His book, Upon Further Review, Inside the Infamous, Controversial, and Unforgettable Calls That Changed the NFL, available in bookstores and online. Also has a foundation that I love the concept of this, Battlefields to Ball Fields, a program that helps veterans get started in officiating careers.
Yeah, I met last night with 3 vets here, 2 guys from the Army, 1 guy who served both in the Army and the Marines. And I've always felt, and I've talked to so many vets who, when they return from their tours of duties, they miss the concept of team, and that's their biggest adjustment, not being part of a team. So we've started a foundation. Jeff Fisher's on the board. Nate Boyer, that you've read about, is on the board. So we're taking these returning vets, and we're giving them full scholarships to become sports officials in their community. And we have 6 of them in Southern California who have started this year under a pilot program, and it is so great to see them on the field. And it's any sport. We're putting them in any sport they want to do. It's just so great to see them feel a part of something like this, to be working with a crew of officials, working with kids on the field. And it really, I've enjoyed writing the book. I enjoy my job. I love the foundation. I mean,
great.
it's just my juices are really flowing with that.
Battlefields to ball fields. It's great. We were talking about how tough it is to be an official. Which sport would be the toughest? Is there a tougher sport to officiate than the NFL?
Well, I would only say this, that when officials would come to me and say, I want to become a better football official, what do you suggest? I would say, go work basketball for 3 years. I think basketball's tougher. You have so many decisions that you have to make in a very small environment, and so much is it enough? Is it? There's more, to me, inherent pressure in basketball than there is in football.
There's
and
more
I did it.
interpretation?
I did it. There is. I did it for 3 years, and it's really hard. It was really hard. And that's why, for a while, we were taking officials out of the Arena Football League, and still do. They get some training there because they work in a closed-in environment. And I just think basketball, to me, is the hardest. My officials made it when I said that, in the NFL, but I do believe that.
Who's the coach that just chewed your ear off? Did you ever?
Well, how about who's the coach that didn't chew my ear off? No.
Did you ever have somebody really get personal, angry at you?
Well, Mike Shanahan read me the riot act probably more than any single coach did in any single play, and the hardest part of it was that I deserved every single bit of it. That I was like, people say, and it's so true about officiating, you never remember your good call. Somebody asked an official, what's the best call you ever made? And you go, I don't know. What's the worst? And boy, the worst for me was the playoff game with Kansas City and Denver in Kansas City in the division championship game in '97, when early in the game, a simple out and up and the biggest, most blatant act of illegal contact. And, my flag and my whistle were somewhere down in here. I swallowed them so much, and I froze on the play, and I missed it so badly. And after the play was over, I knew it. And Mike was really good on the sidelines when he wanted to get on somebody. And he got on me. He got on me, and I did deserve it. And that was about the best.
How about unofficially? Can you tell me, do referees ref differently in the final 2 minutes?
No.
Are you instructed to?
No, certainly
You don't
not
call. You don't let.
instructed to.
Well, they say, they're swallowing their whistle.
I don't know.
You hear that?
I think you hear that more in basketball than you hear it in football.
Yeah.
I personally feel it this way, that if you officiate the game different in the fourth quarter or the last 2 minutes of the game, you're not being fair to anybody. You're not being fair to the officials. You're not being fair to the players or the coaches. It's hard enough to adopt one standard of officiating, much less try to sit to another standard in the fourth quarter or the last 5 minutes. And you are graded, and I guess here's the most relevant point. When you are graded, and that's how you keep your job, and that's how you get playoff assignments or Super Bowls, you're graded the same in the first 2 minutes as you are in the last 2 minutes. So the last thing you want to do is get smothered with a bunch of no calls for not calling something in the last 2 minutes. So I really believe, at least in football, I can't speak for other sports, but I believe it's one of the myths that are involved in officiating.
We're talking to Mike Pereira. The book is Upon Further Review, Inside the Infamous, Controversial, and Unforgettable Calls That Changed the NFL. We'll get a couple of phone calls here. And we have can we do a scenario here? I'm going to bring the Danettes up, and we have a scenario, and if you're watching, you can see this. We have two scenarios, according to Paulie. Okay.
Remember now, 2 scenarios, you could be ejected if they're both fouls.
Okay. So,
Dan, this is loosely based on the Antonio Brown catch fumble the other day.
Ooh.
We're going to ask Mike to call it. I'm the receiver, Fritzy's the defender, and what does he see?
Okay.
Ready?
Okay. Paulie caught it. 2 feet down. Fritzy knocked it out of his hands. What would you call, Mike?
I would call that bang, 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 bang. That's the terminology we use, bang, bang.
But what's the call?
In real time, that is so close, it is clearly an incomplete pass.
Wow.
You got to get control, you got to get 2 feet, and then you happen to have an element of time. You had no time. It's incomplete.
All right.
Really good
That was a good
defensive
play by
play.
you, right?
Well done,
Really
Fritzy.
good
Well
defensive
done.
play.
Lockdown corner.
Be a Pro
Todd
Bowler.
Fritz.
Okay.
Dan, this will be an offshoot of that. Are you
Okay.
ready, Mike? Ready? Fritzy, same one.
He made a football move. But did he hold on to it long?
Are you? That's not a football move.
Okay, because it's me?
That to me was like him turning
There's
to go to the
nothing athletic
bathroom.
about that
I mean,
whatsoever.
There was nothing
That's a
athletic.
shot at Paulie.
Okay, here's the other one. You're the official, and Seton has just scored a touchdown, and this is his
So,
celebration.
We come back. Boom. Touchdown. Boom.
There's a little bit of pelvic thrusting there. Would you call
Pelvic thrusting, as called this past weekend, pelvic thrusting is a foul.
It is.
I'm not calling it ground.
We call it in the that to me, which I'm so old now I hardly remember this stuff anymore, but is a sexual gyration. And sexual gyrations are not allowed on the field. That is a penalty and a flag for embarrassing yourself.
Would you have called Eli Manning in the grass
No.
in the Super Bowl?
No.
You would not? Okay. What if they did on that play?
We'd be minus one of the great plays in the history of the Super Bowl.
Chris in Seattle, your question for Mike Pereira.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, Mike. Who are you voting for, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton?
Well, there you go.
I can't stand Hillary Clinton, you know.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Well,
Thank
let's
you.
see. The way I stand right now, I'm voting for the Danettes. I think they would be the.
Well done.
I
Thank
think they'd
you.
be the best candidate at this point.
Yeah, this might be a bad idea, but let me try it again. Eric in Florida. Eric, your question for Mike Pereira.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good, great.
Good. Mr. Pereira, I was just wondering,
See,
which
Mr.
NFL
Pereira.
play-
Anybody that calls me Mr. Pereira, I'm so flattered. Go ahead.
Yes, which NFL play that's currently not available for review for instant replay would you like to see be available for review for instant replay?
All right.
I'll hang up.
Thank you, Eric.
I think as we discussed a little bit earlier, I'd like to see the helmet-to-helmet hits be reviewable, especially if it involves ejection, which I would like to see it involve. Beyond that, I don't want to see any other play reviewable because to me it already interferes with the game enough. To the legendary George Young back in 1999, when he was the head of football operations for the league, when we brought back instant replay, he didn't want it. And on his little manila folder, where his instant replay folder, where you'd write on the tab instant replay, he didn't write instant replay. On the front of it, he wrote, "The monster grows."
Okay, if I gave the NFL a mulligan, no replay or continue to do what they're doing?
No, I continue to do what they're doing minus any aspect of judgment. Judgment doesn't belong in replay. To me, facts only. And this is what, in my opinion, has screwed up what is a catch and what is not a catch, because it's a pure judgment call by the official who calls it based on how he sees it on the field of the play. It smells like a catch. It looks like a catch. But technicality by the rule, it's not. It's judgment. It doesn't belong. I'd take it out. That'd be my mulligan.
He's Mike Pereira, Fox NFL rules analyst. The book is After Further Review, Inside the Infamous, Controversial, Unforgettable Calls That Changed the NFL, and also his foundation, Battlefields to Ballfields. It's great to see you.
Great to see you.
Thanks. You look great. Your hair looks great.
Thank you.
I'd give you a chance with Goodell. I thought you could go one round, maybe. Hockey Lee would kick your ass, though.
Hockey League?
Yeah, he would. He'd own you.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He could not. He could not, because I'd never get close enough to him to kick my ass.
Abby Wambach will join us in studio. 2 hours in the book, one more to go. Dan Patrick Show.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.